and this is for everybody, more often than not, who is the one who is having to end the relationship? And this can apply also not just towards like if for your long-term relationships, but also even if you've gone on 1 date with a guy, 2 dates with a guy, 3 dates with a guy. More often than not, is it you that is saying, I don't want to see you anymore, I want to break up, or is it the guy saying that?
So,
if you had to attribute maybe a percentage to it, or just more often than not,
should we do
is it the guy
ratios?
or the girl? No. We'll come to that
I'm
later.
just kidding. I'm
Go
just
ahead.
kidding. Okay, so out of my actual relationships that I like count, because you know how you have like you've dated exes and then you have like girlfriend, boyfriend kind of exes. So like actual real relationships, it's usually me because I come to the conclusion that he's not my soulmate and I'm in a relationship to get married. And there's no point of wasting either of our times if I know that it's not going to get to marriage. And
Sure.
I don't want to marry the wrong person. I don't want to settle when it comes to that because I don't want to get divorced. I'm married. Once I'm married, I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
I don't want to put my kids through divorce.
So usually it's you
But-
ending it. Okay.
Yeah, but with that being said, when it comes to just guys that I've like casually dated to see, like think it might go somewhere. Maybe you're talking to someone for a couple months, thinks it's gonna go somewhere, doesn't officially go somewhere. It's usually the guy that.
Okay,
ends
but
that.
in the
Or
longer
like it
term,
makes it fade out.
in your longer term situations or relationship,
I'm ending it
More so you,
because
okay.
I really want to get married for the long haul, and I don't want to waste either of our time if I don't see that happening.
what about you?
So like her, like I date to marry. So if I can't see myself with you, like I'm not even gonna fake it. Like I'm gonna tell you straight up, like I don't want this.
Okay, so how many boyfriends have you had?
Like actual boyfriends, 2.
2. What about like medium term? Maybe they didn't end up being a boyfriend, but you were dating for 3 months, 6 months, that sort of thing.
Like how would I break up with them?
No, just like, are you ending it or are they ending it more often
Oh no,
than not?
I'm ending it.
FTG, thank you for the 50 gifted memberships. Would you say 100% of the time you've ended it?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you?
I would say it's been a pretty even split.
50-50? Okay.
More or less.
I would say, even just in general, not just me, but women just are the ones to end things.
Oh.
Loose
Hold on, we'll
Pussy
come back to
Energy
that.
donated 99.
LPE, let's go.
Brian,
Thank
help
you.
a brother out. Get Walmart Kevin Hart a booster seat so he can see over the table. He likes
Bro,
to be
come on.
stretched out and has 1,000 decimeters.
It's not fair, I'm in a different chair.
304s. First, pause, and second, stop the damn cap. Also, of Blondie sound like she eats 10 packs a day.
Of cigarettes? You eat 10 packs of cigarettes a
just
day.
down in
I
them.
thought you were
First
supposed
of all,
to smoke them.
I believe Q because Q, he's a handsome guy. Like, I'm straight. Don't worry about that.
I'd fucking clue.
I'm just saying, Q's a
believe
handsome.
him in the
He's a handsome
ratios
dude.
thing.
He's fucking ripped.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm average looking though.
Get
no,
your
dude,
shirt off.
dude. You're okay.
I tell everybody I'm an average looking guy.
Also, the fucking it's not fair because the
It's the angles.
no,
Yeah,
it's
it's definitely-
it's, no, it's the
Throws
fucking
it in.
angle because I'm
Yeah, I
closer.
get it.
Like I'm closer to this camera, and I'm in a Herman Miller, and he's in one of our regular chairs. And how tall are you, dude?
I'm 6'8".
He's 6'8".
So he's just towering.
Should we swap seats? I'll just crunch down.
Guys, be not. Come on. Okay. All right. So go ahead, Kelly.
What were you talking about?
Like breaking up
Oh,
more
yeah,
often than not.
No, yeah, men don't really like leave that much. Like, men don't like leaving
Yes, okay.
because if you have like a woman that is doing whatever you need to, like, there's no point of leaving her. It's like you're just gonna go with other women. You're gonna do whatever you need to do. You're gonna hope she doesn't find out,
And come
but
back.
they're not gonna leave. So
Sure.
at the end of the day, it's like a woman is gonna end it.
For the one other relationship that I've had, like I've never casually dated. Like they said, I've only ever dated to marry, and I did end it because he was just not fully invested in me. I was fully invested in him. He was just lacking. He cared more about his friends than me, and just
Sure.
it ends for a bunch of reasons.
What about something? Your more short-term situations. Was it you saying don't want to see you anymore,
No, every other short-term situation, the guys left me.
or was
Is
it a
it
mutual
does.
ghost?
No, it wasn't a mutual ghost.
Oh, so you were pursuing.
I was just
but-
ghosted.
Oh shit!
Like
okay,
every
all right.
single time.
Rip. RIP's in the chat for Madison. Alex, what about you?
Majority of the time, the guy is breaking up with me or ghosting me.
Oh, that's not good.
Okay.
Don't say that.
But wait, can I give context?
Sure.
All right, the context is that I am in, and this is what may be to my detriment, but right out the gate, I always say I'm dating for marriage. That
First date, you'd say that?
yes.
Alarm bells.
First date, I say that, and every single time the relationship has ended, and I'm thinking, I would say since 23 years old, I've probably had 5 serious relationships. Every single one, it ends because they're not on my timeline. They say similar things to what Q says.
What's the timeline?
The timeline, like they're not ready for
I
marriage.
hit home when I said what I said.
They're
That's
not
why.
ready. They're not in a time in their life where they're ready for marriage and things like that. So that's why they're ending things, because they know that that's what I'm looking for.
But so you're in a relationship with these guys. You're kind of starting to have serious conversations about the future, and then they end it, or because there's more than one way. There's like you can ask for a breakup. Like there's more than one way to ask for something, you know?
No, I think they're ending it because they're like, yeah, I can't give you what you want. Like, I know that
Okay.
you don't want to date. I don't want to be in a serious relationship
Okay.
dating somebody for probably, now that I'm 30, longer than a year before getting engaged. So if we're dating for a year or so, at that point, I'm wanting him to know if he could marry me or not.
Okay. Isaac, what about you? More often than not, of your anything, whether it's short term, medium term, long term, more often than not, were you ending things or was the girl ending things?
I think it would be probably if I probably had like 4 proper girlfriends before I met my wife. But we met at like I was 21, she was 19. So I think it was probably even, 50-50. But
Sure.
I think dudes just don't end it because
Yeah.
if dudes are getting the business, why would you?
Exactly.
Like
You
if
have
you
no
get your
guarantee
balls
you're gonna
drained,
get
like
it.
what are you doing? Like if you're eating, if you're getting takeout every night.
Well, there's more to relationships than that, right?
But
What?
it's like for you, it's like why would you leave that? Why would you leave
Right.
your favorite girl? Like
Exactly.
like you're not gonna do that,
Right.
especially not for one of the side chicks.
Also, when as you said with the marriage thing, if you don't want to scare guys away, maybe it's the timing is when you bring up marriage.
Well, and that's the thing. But I'm not like, so where's this going on the first date? I'm not saying that, but I'm just like, hey, what after we've been there for a while and the small talk and everything, that's when I'm like, so what are you looking for?
Yeah.
It's a little
that-
scary for guys on the first date,
Right.
When a woman brings that up.
And we don't do it.
Christio donated
Oh, sorry, hold on just a
$100.
sec.
I think it's nice that Steve-O finally transitioned to a woman. Welcome, Christy. You look like someone microwaved a Barbie. Just kidding.
God.
I am tired of seeing all these beautiful women on the Whatever podcast. Thanks for changing things up, Christy.
Do you have a response to?
Okay, so wait, I think it ended as a compliment.
yeah.
So thank you. Steve O, Christy O. I mean, the username is cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Would you do a show with Steve-O if we got him?
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
Couldn't even speak.
All right. Q, you were in the middle of saying something, I think.
No, I was just responding to what
Alex
she
was
said.
talking about her marriage or her timing thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just saying it here directly, but like in a real life scenario, I'm not being super aggressive about it. But I do on a first date, I think it's fair to just be like, so, what are you looking for? Are you looking for something casual? Are you here because you're just looking for a long-term relationship? Are you dating for marriage? It goes like that basically.
So you have an issue with the go with the flow mentality.
Yes, I do.
But that's how men operate, though.
Well, I want someone that's more grown than that.
So you just want him to jump
I think
into
it's
the
immature.
marriage.
But I
No,
think
not
a lot
jump
of
into marriage.
Wait.
grown men do like to just date for a while before they marry who they
Decide
want to
that,
marry.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Especially
that's what I'm
like we
saying,
were just
after-
talking about marriage.
But
Like
a year to 2 years, I think if you're at a certain age, like if you're a guy that is dating for marriage, you should know. There should be qualities that you get to know that you're like, okay, I could see this person being my wife or not.
How long
I
do you
feel
want
like
to
that's
date
how-
somebody before you get married?
that's how women operate. Also.
Probably
I think men operate very differently from that.
between a year and 2 years.
So like a year in, like
you'd need 10.
No,
You don't
way.
know
And
people.
that's
I'm
why-
30
Yeah.
years. I'm 30.
Yeah, but isn't that better than
So I think-
divorcing in 10 years'
Date
time
for
because
10
you hate
years.
each other?
Date for 10 years. No, I will not
5
be able to have
years.
kids.
5 years.
Yeah, that's still putting you in a danger zone for like having kids and stuff. I mean, if I was 23, yes,
Yeah.
I think that's
so
different.
when you were 23, like in the like in your 20s, like what were you dating? Like
Yes,
postured.
but I
Like,
think I always.
Why didn't you feel like you wanted to get, so all the guys that you dated were just
No,
not.
several of them. Okay, well, I say several, but I've had 5 serious relationships in my 20s, and 4 of them, I think I would have been willing potentially to talk marriage and maybe see but none of them were wanting that because
Sounds
all
like
of them.
you're saying it happens like that flip to where you're sort of like dating to meet people and dating for marriage. That happens later for guys. It sounds like that's what you've experienced too. Like for generalizing here, obviously, but for females, that happens kind of like mid-20s maybe. For some people it's later, but for most guys, I hear it's like, oh, I was in my early to mid-30s, and then I was like, oh, I'm looking for a wife in between.
Well, and that's what
now.
happened. I think a lot of them, it was like the girl after me that they dated, that's who they end up getting engaged to. It's like they're just, our timing is just slightly off where I'm ready and they're not.
Let me just finish this off. Q, more often than not, who was ending things? Was it the girl or the you?
Prior to age 24, it was the girl ending things first. After that, it's been me. I mean, I've only been in 2 relationships after 24, but I ended both of those.
And you say after 24, was that just because circumstance, like happenstance, or did you level up at 24?
It had to do with leveling up, becoming more mature, being more aware of women and how they behave.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'd say for me, more often than not, in relationships, I found it's women that, not all of my relationships, but women tend to, maybe it's like 60-40, tend to end them more so. Maybe even 70-30. I don't know. I got to do the math. I got to do the ratio math.
Do you think
on
that's
that.
because dudes are just like, girls, are just like, I can find a better dude than this?
Well, I think women definitely have a lot more options.
Oh, 1,000%.
Way more options.
Guys don't care. They will have sex with anything. That's literally, completely, absolutely true. Any dude. But they don't care.
Yeah. The reason I asked this, though, is, Alex, you were talking about men being afraid of commitment. And I mean, the thing is that, but it's interesting to me that even though commitment is the thing that women really, really want, when they get it, they seem to overwhelmingly end relationships and they overwhelmingly initiate divorce. I think it's 80% of divorces are initiated by women, so it's not.
Yeah, I think that's part of culture feeding into women, telling us like it's always greener on the other side. You know, you have to look outside of the home to find fulfillment. Like, you know, raising kids, being a stay-at-home mom, you're going to be so unhappy, and they tell us that, and it seeds doubt in us, and then we look for that elsewhere, and I think that contributes to women being the ones to file for divorce more.
Yeah, but I mean, couldn't you say that actually men are more commitment-minded? Because just going off of the marriage statistics.
Potentially in the past, I think tides turning, because I think feminism really ruined women in that perspective. So then obviously men were like, well, I don't want that. So then they went the other direction. Now you're seeing a lot more younger conservative women that are like, no, wait, like I'm being left in the dust now. Like I do want to get married and have a committed relationship. And those guys are like, I'm not buying it.
But I think it's interesting because you said men fearing commitment, and then on the other hand, you said after they got done with you, they ended up committing to the next woman.
Yeah, because then it's been a couple years, and then by that point they're in their late 20s, and I think they're ready.
So fearing commitment is merely a perception. Do you think that it's valid to assume that they aren't ready? And when you on a first date, if you say I'm dating to marry, as I said, men don't approach dating like that because we want to know who we're getting with. We just had a conversation about the woman you get with. That's probably the most important choice you make in your life as a man. So if you come to me, oh, I'm dating to marry, then I'm like, this woman might pressure me. This woman might try to get me to speed up my process. This woman is going to make me feel uncomfortable. So if you make me feel uncomfortable, then naturally I'm going to divert away. So do you think that's a possibility?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because you just put it on the men fear commitment. You put the accountability on the men as opposed to doing some introspective assessment and seeing if there's anything you could work on in your approach to dating and what your expectations are.
Potentially. I mean, I roast myself all the time for that. Is that it could be that maybe I should, just step back and just be like,
go with the flow.
See where it goes and not say anything. So, I think that's
and
one
you
of
can
the
always
reasons.
say, I really like you. I really like you, the closer we grow, the more we develop. I would like something serious. You could approach it in that way as opposed to this is what I want. And evolutionarily, it's understandable because you have a biological clock. So if you want to have kids and you want to start a family, then of course you're going to push for marriage sooner than a man would push for marriage, because a man has ample time.
And it's not. Let me just be clear on this. It's not every guy I go on a date with or something. I mean, sometimes I go on a date and I know within 30 seconds I am not interested in this person. So it's not like every guy I'm saying that. It's if I've been with someone or talked to them and I really like them, you know what I mean? Then we're having those conversations.
You get infatuated. You wanting to be daddy, husband.
No, I feel like I don't like that many people. Like when it's few and far between when I find somebody that I really like, I'm always very
Like
taken
you're
aback by
attached.
it.
That makes it worse. That makes it worse.
For
because
sure, probably does.
That's what I'm saying. So you get infatuated. You meet a guy and you're like, this guy is,
It's just
he's
not often. It's
unusual.
not
He makes me
often.
feel a way that most guys don't make me feel. So he must be the one, because he's the one making me feel like other men don't
I think
make me
that's
feel.
fair. I think that's fair.
Like, I don't think like your view on marriage is wrong. I just think like your timing, because like I'm 22. Me and my guy, we've been together for like 3 years. We've talked about potentially marrying each other, but it's not like that big deal where it's like, oh, you have to marry me, or it's just not going anywhere. Like, I just think right now we know.
But how much of your time would you let a guy waste before asking that?
I wouldn't worry about how long it'll take him to marry me, as long as I know like he wants to marry me. Like if he was to tell me right now I would marry you, that's all I need to hear.
So
I
a
don't
lot
but
of
he's
guys-
telling his girl that.
I don't think a guy's necessarily like wasting your time either by making you wait, because I think those conversations often scare men away.
He's
And
probably
a
just trying to
lot
get
of
stuff
women,
together.
younger women end up dating older men, I think, because of that commitment issue that we're talking about. But yet younger women get a lot of flack for dating older men at the same time, because they're viewed as gold diggers and things like that. So is it also fair to say then that it's understandable that younger women are dating older men, because at that point men have reached a certain maturity level?
Oh yeah,
and are up for
absolutely.
commitment?
I definitely have no qualms with that. I mean, I say all the time, if a guy can provide you with what you want in order to provide a stable environment that you can raise kids, then yeah, go for that guy. If that means that guy is 20 years older than you because you don't want to wait on the guy with potential, you don't want to wait to see if he fulfills that potential, then absolutely jump on the opportunity to secure whatever it is that you're trying to secure for your future.
Can I say something?
I do have to move things along here a little bit.